everybody. Testing out the microphone. All right, thank you guys so much for coming today. I'm Lauren. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sansa's daughter. My brother Jesse is right up here on the front row. Yep. Am I back on? Okay. I want to thank you guys so much for coming and for representing my dad with the orange and blue and the Gator shirts. I just have one question. Who here is not a Gator fan but is wearing a Gator shirt today? Oh my goodness. Dad would have loved this, so thank you so much, and I love it. So I just wanted to tell you just a little bit about me. So I've been coming to this church for 25 years. This is my home church. And so the fun thing about it is we sometimes call it the church in the woods because you can't see it from the road, there's woods. And Dad really liked the woods, for those of you that knew that. And so I think it's very appropriate that we're here today in the woods celebrating my dad. His death was a shock to us. I know it was to you guys. Most people didn't know he was sick because he wasn't sick for very long. He got an illness and he had a lot of complications, and we thought he was going to get better. Days before he passed away, we still thought he was going to get better. And so if you were shocked to hear the news, believe us, we were shocked too. And we're still adjusting to this idea. But even just right after he passed, Mom and I decided we did not want to hold a funeral. We wanted a celebration of life because Dad lived a pretty amazing life and he touched a lot of people. And so today it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad because we really do miss him. But we also want you to know it's okay to laugh because he was a funny guy. And you're going to see some pictures that are pretty funny. And so it's all fine. There's tissues on just about every row. So, whatever you need to do today, feel safe here. And I also just want you to know that he loved all of you. He talked about all his friends and all his family all the time. We heard so many things over and over, and so it's wonderful to hear all the stories. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to have my pastor's going to come up and speak. We're going to have some key speakers and some music and some pictures, and then we're going to open up the mic for anyone who would like to share. And I encourage you to share because the stories that you have, and whether they're funny or heartwarming or just a good memory, they really mean a lot to us. So for anyone that would like to share later, we'll have that. And then at the very end, we do have Dustin's because what would a gathering with Dad be if there wasn't barbecue? Right, absolutely. So that's how everything's gonna go today. And if you guys wanna stick around after, we'll be around to chat and spend some time together. So thank you. My pastor is going to come up and talk to you for a little bit.
Honored to be able to hold this celebration of life service for Sands. So many years ago, it seems now, we were meeting as a church in the skating rink right down the road. And Lauren happened to be working there, so we stole her and made her come to our church. She's been here ever since, so really close to the family, and I love this family so much. And got to talk a little bit to Sands. Today, you're going to hear a lot about Sands Lassiter because there's a lot that could be said and told about him from what I am hearing. And most of you in this room, you knew him better than I did. I've been privileged to have some conversations with him over the years. I was just sharing with a few in the back because I know now they are about to redo this exit down here that's been needed to be redone forever. And they had some city meetings here, actually, in our facility to show the designs and everything. But I remember maybe 12, 15 years ago, Sands showed me his plans for that exit and what his mindset was about what he wanted to do about that exit. So I've had these conversations with him over the years, and I just knew him as a person who liked to laugh, liked to have a lot of fun, and he wanted everybody around him to be laughing and having fun at the same time. And you're going to hear a lot more details about him, but I also learned that he always had a project going. And if you had a project going, he would get into your project and start figuring out how to do your project. And from what I understand, as he was doing these projects, there would be a way to do it. There would be instructions and a way that it was usually done, and then there was Sands' way. And he would have his way to come in and do it. And it was probably a way that he felt was better and only he understood. And the project would probably get more complicated and have some twists and turns. It might even take longer. But when it was done, it was well done. He knew how to finish it, and it would be well done. And so with that in mind, for my message today, I just kind of saw that as a way that we all tend to live our life. I believe that there's a way that God intended for us all to live, to enjoy life. He gave us this beautiful world. He gave us the nature that we enjoy. I encourage everybody, enjoy it. Do you love the mountains? Do you love the beach? Whatever you enjoy in this world, live life and enjoy it. God gave this to us, and Sands loved nature. I find sometimes that it's a lot easier to enjoy the things of the world, like nature and the ocean and the mountains, than it is to enjoy people. Sometimes people are a little harder to enjoy, but God wants us to enjoy nature and people and each other. And I think there's a way that He intended for us to live, but like Sands, we find our own way. We take those instructions that He gives us and we start to make our own way. We set those instructions aside. We build our own lives the way we want to build our lives. It probably gets a lot more complicated than God intended, a lot more twists and turns. It might even be a little bit harder than God intended, but we build our own lives. I know that all of us probably have times when we had to stop and start and reboot and rebuild because we kind of came to an end, and God helps us reboot and rebuild our lives. But hopefully, when we all get to this point, and we all will, when it's finished and when our life is finished, people will gather like this. This is a testimony to the life that He lived. All of you here and people watching on the stream and people who wanted to be here and couldn't be here, it's a testimony. So hopefully when we get to this point, people gather, they celebrate, and they say that was a life well lived, well done. And we'll hear that today. We'll hear that today about Sands. Now, in my imagination, what I believe, Sands is looking over the blueprints of his new home right now and making some changes. He's probably saying, nah, that's not how I would do it. And he's rearranging, putting new things in. He's probably gathering with a lot of other engineers up there that are debating on how to do everything. But I believe there's a life beyond this life. Because in my mind, if this life is all there is, well, God help us. And I believe there's something beyond this life. I believe in heaven. I believe life is temporary. And I believe while we're here, we should live it to the full. Live, laugh, and love, enjoy people, enjoy the outdoors with the knowledge that one day there's something beyond here. And I believe there's a home that's being prepared for us. John chapter 14, verses 1 through 3 says, "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God and trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you. When everything is ready, I will come and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am. When I get there, when you get there, when we reach our eternal home, most likely it would have been remodeled a few times by Sands. He's going to get it all ready for us and fixed up, and he's got new projects for him now where he's at. He enjoyed this life, and I believe that he will enjoy his eternal life. And I just encourage you to think about that. Enjoy this life as he did while we are here, but keep in mind that there is something beyond here, and to start to build your life in a way that prepares you for what comes next. I just want to pray real quick for y'all. God, thank you for this life well lived. Sands, who is so well loved as we can see and hear. Thank you, God, for the beauty of nature in this world and people and relationships and friendships. I pray, God, we would think about all that today, this world you gave us and all the people in our lives that means so much to us. To bless this time, bless this day. And God, help us all to keep in mind this world and what comes next. We ask you in Jesus' name. Amen. A few people are going to come up and share now and speak. Gil Ramirez is going to come speak first, and right after him, Keith Norden will come up and share some thoughts.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. I'm Gil Ramirez. I'm his business partner. So thank you all for being here today as we celebrate the life of Sands Lassiter, who meant so much to so many. Thank you to the Lassiter family for inviting me to share my thoughts on this man who had such a profound influence on the trajectory of my life. It's impossible to adequately convey what it means to lose someone like Sands, and we will all undoubtedly feel it differently according to the imprint he left on our lives. But today isn't just about loss. It's about honoring a life well lived, a life that shaped all of ours in ways big and small, honoring the eternal optimist who, 23 years ago, dusted himself off after getting knocked down to build a company around a simple premise, to treat everyone like family. This unspoken principle, along with Sands' reputation for integrity and quality work, preceded him in 2005 when we first sat across from each other and argued about the finer points of some study or another. After that, I knew that when Sands' people walked through the door, I could expect to review quality work and could depend on him to hear me when we disagreed and teach me when I was wrong. His unwavering optimism buoyed him through recessions, setbacks, disappointments, and mistakes. But it also made the good times better. Toasting over a bottle of Dom Perignon every 100 jobs with our staff, getting the employees together for barbecues at his house, or funding a trip for everyone to Kennedy Space Center. Opening his liquor cabinet on a random Tuesday and inviting us all to come and grab a drink and chat. Countless times, he helped me see the silver linings, the lessons learned, the good in others, even when they had hurt him. He never let setbacks shake his belief that, in the end, things would work out. Of all of Sands' traits, I'll miss his optimism the most. Back in 2013, I had been approached by many companies and had been considering starting my own firm. But when Sands approached me and asked me to join his company, I knew it was the right move. It was worth the risk because it was Sands, someone I trusted and respected. Over the subsequent years, I earned his trust, eventually earning a place as his partner and working through the process of slowly taking the reins of the company from the man who built it. For those of you who haven't gone through something like this, please imagine having to coax a lion to share his favorite meal with you. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of patience over the span of years. And going through it back in 2019 and 2020, there were a lot of sleepless nights and frustration. But how could it not? LTG was the manifestation of his will, shaped by his optimism and sacrifice over the span of 20 years. He was so proud of his team because he knew it was his people that mattered. In the last 3 years, I had been encouraging him to work less, to go on those vacations, to go ride his bike, to go enjoy the fruits of his labors. It took the passing of one of his dear friends for him to finally get the memo before he started really to lean into the idea, going and getting that RV. But Sands is as stubborn about his work as he is optimistic. In January, just a few weeks before his passing, I visited him in the hospital room. He talked about how he was going to get out soon and how we needed to work out an employment agreement because he needed to transition just a few more clients and he wanted to continue to work part-time as a contractor. This was a man who loved his work, and he couldn't see a future where he wasn't still out there changing the world. Sands wasn't just my business partner. He was my mentor and my friend. Looking back over our 20 years together, he taught me more than I could have ever imagined, not just about business, but about leadership, about integrity, about how to handle hard decisions with strength and compassion. I remember once Sands telling me that to be an entrepreneur, you're going to feel schizophrenic because things were going to happen that were both good and bad at the same time. In 2015, after a particularly tough few months in the trenches together, dealing with a major setback, Sands called me into his office and shared that he'd learned some Spanish early in his life. There was this word, simpático, that he had learned. Now, if you look it up, you would learn that it's translated as nice or sympathetic. But as happens with so many words, it doesn't fully translate. And that doesn't grasp what it really means. It encompasses a certain connection between people who are aligned, who share common foundational traits or beliefs. He saw us as simpático. To receive a heartfelt confession like that from a man I admire will continue to be one of the highlights of my life. Now, I have to say that he said these words while loudly chewing on a Dove chocolate. And I have a near-phobic aversion to the sound of people chewing loudly. So, while he's sitting there sharing this beautiful moment with me, I both wanted to hug him and see if I could run out of the window behind me, Bugs Bunny style. Schizophrenic, good and bad, all at the same time. Sands shared his wisdom with all of us, sometimes in odd ways. One of our employees shared how Sands pulled her aside once and told her, "You can be a lamb or you can be a lion, but lambs get slaughtered." Believe me, that stuck with her. In so many meetings, he'd annoy one employee or another when he cut them off mid-explanation and jump in Superman style, declaring, "We're right, they're wrong, we're gonna ramrod this through." Or, "We gotta get in there and pound it out with them." Now, having come from government, I cringed, wondering how long it was gonna be before Judy, our director of HR and everything else that Sands didn't want to deal with, was going to get that complaint. Where's Judy? There you are. And more often than not, he did jump in and get it done. I think it captures his approach to business and to life in general. Be bold, be strong, and if you know you're right, you stand your ground, even if it's a little cringy. It instilled a sense of confidence that he'd had our backs. Outside of work, Sands had a way of making people feel comfortable and included. Whether demolishing the competition for the ugly Christmas sweater contest, throwing axes wearing a Viking helmet, or giving the young guns a run for their money at an after party playing Cards Against Humanity, he could joke with the best of them. He showed me you could be the boss and enjoy the company of those around you. Now, I sometimes wonder if I could have encouraged Sands to step back sooner, to enjoy more of the time he had earned. A colleague recently shared a Latin proverb with me, tanto nadar para morir en la orilla, translates to so much swimming only to die on the shore. It's a truth we see too often, where those who give everything to their work leave too soon, without fully enjoying the rewards of their labor, without being surrounded by those they love. Work, even when it is fulfilling, is demanding. It takes a toll, and too often the ones who love us the most are the ones most willing to sacrifice their time with us. We can build something meaningful, and we can also take the time to enjoy it. Again, we're all different, and we will experience his loss according to his imprint on our lives. Give yourself the grace to acknowledge your own truth and your own perspective. I choose to honor his memory by carrying forward the values he lived by. Do great work, treat everyone like friends, find those silver linings, be the change I want to see in the world, and have fun doing it. I will also make sure that I take time for my family and friends along the way. And in 20 years, 100 days, 3 hours, and 45 minutes, I will turn over the reins to the next generation of leaders at LTG with full confidence that they will be ready to take up the reins and carry Sands' legacy far, far into the future. So rest easy, Sands. You did it. You built something bigger than yourself. The ripples of your work, your wisdom, and your kindness will carry on through all of us for many years to come. We will never forget you.
Good afternoon. I'm so honored that Roberta and the family asked me to say a few things about my friend Sands, and thank you all for coming. I first met Sands in August of 2012 when I was brought in for a series of interviews for the president and CEO position at Team Volusia. For my initial interview, I was led into a room, some of you were there, where 27 people sat around a U formation of tables. In the middle of this large room with a large table was a small round table with a glass of water and no chair. Talk about intimidating. Well, however, I proceeded to give a presentation and got lots of great questions. And through it all, Sands stood out for his kindness and genuine interest in me. What followed were several rounds of interviews with different community partners, including Sands. Throughout the process, his graciousness and welcoming way, which everyone in this room has felt, made me feel like Volusia County was already my home. In early October 2012, shortly after I started, Sands was one of the first people to host me for lunch at the Halifax River Yacht Club. During lunch, he asked about my family, and he told me about his wife, Roberta, his daughter, Lauren, and his son, Jesse. Family was everything to Sands. He made a difference in so many lives with his natural ability to create families all around him, both personally and professionally. As a founding investor in Team Volusia, Sands always believed in our mission. He was dedicated to the economic prosperity and well-being of our community. From 2016 to 2022, Sands served as the chair of our Investor Development and Relations Committee. He was an integral part of the success we had in expanding awareness in Team Volusia, helping to build our investor base through the currency of his authenticity, which he enthusiastically shared within the business community. During those 7 years of working with him on investor outreach, I encountered another of his gracious qualities, his humility. Knowing I was a native Virginian, one day he told me that his ancestor, Thomas Lassiter, was one of the first settlers of Jamestown, arriving in 1620. It was so refreshing to have this incredible historic point of pride come up with a friend that I've known for many years into our relationship. My friends in Virginia, back in Virginia, would have put such lineage on their business cards and handed them out to everyone they met at the first meeting. Team Volusia learned through the years of working with Sands that he would always be there for us, to sponsor an event, to attend and rally others to join us. In 2023, Sands served as our vice chair of the board of directors, and last year as our chair, always welcoming, warm, gracious. He could make you feel special even in your first conversation with him. The fact was, creating bonds with people, both personally and professionally, was a specialty of his. And once forged, the importance of those bonds was a guiding principle for Sands in the work-life balance that fueled him. Just last fall, when Team Volusia was looking at options to schedule an upcoming committee meeting, Sands said, "Great, let's do it," while also letting us know he had a planned motorcycle road trip with some of his closest friends, so we just need to work around those dates. Sands led by example, embodying the strength of a life that cherished a balancing of passions between livelihood and neighborhood, work commitments and commitments to family and friends. He recognized and celebrated all of it in little and big ways every day. Sands was a beacon, a shining example for so many of how heart and mind can join forces and inspire the best people. He did that for me, and he did that for all of you. I will forever be grateful to Sands for helping illuminate this community. For me, a community he loved so deeply and so well that loved him right back. And now it's up to all of us to pay forward what we learned from Sands, to do our best to forge the kinds of community bonds that would make him proud. Together, we all became brothers and sisters in the world of Sands. And that was and is a beautiful and extraordinary place to be. Thank you, Sands.
I'm going to go ahead and close this portion in prayer, and then we'll open up the mic and have some people share. But let's pray together. Well, again, God, we're so grateful that in some way, large way, small way, we were honored to be a part of Sans' life. So, Lord, I pray now for that void that will be in our hearts, especially his family, closest friends. Lord, after the celebration of life is over and life goes on for those who are here, it's not where they are that bothers us, it's where they're not, and they're not here. So I'm thankful for your word that tells us there will be times to mourn, but also for your word that says that God blesses and comforts those who mourn. So God, I pray now for the family, friends, all those who will be feeling the emotions. I pray, God, your special anointing by your Holy Spirit, supernatural peace and comfort. And Lord, as this day goes on and the next days, I pray for stories and laughter and smiles as they remember the blessing of his life. Thank you for this time, for being here with us in this place. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. So now, with the official part of this ceremony over, we have an open mic right here for anybody. And honestly, in the past services that I've been involved in, this is a real blessing to the family. So if you're wondering, should I not come up and share something, I just encourage you to. If somebody's walking away and somebody else is coming, or get in line, or however, but come up to the microphone, share your stories, and we'll continue the service together in that way.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for lovely service, and Sophia. I know that was hard, but thank you so much. It was absolutely beautiful. You can tell I loved Sans, and he's getting the last laugh because I'm wearing this shirt that I actually bought for just today. I don't know how many of you are out there, but I'm a Knoll. Okay. So, who got the last laugh? That was part of the fun, I guess. I'm Sarah Lee Morrissey, and I see a lot of familiar faces. And to a few of you, we have to stop meeting like this. I can't remember the first time that I met Sans, but I know it was in the mid-1990s. I had left the city of Daytona Beach to bring professional planning to the Volusia School District. And Sans helped me incorporate transportation planning, in particular traffic impact analysis and bicycle and pedestrian considerations to school siting and school design. Long, really long serpentine driveways became a standard in new school design, and the district started to pay for off-site turn lanes. Seems obvious to all of us 30 years later, but it wasn't without Sans' technical support. Sans and I continued to work together even after I left the district in 2020. I think most of you know Sans had strong opinions. He was the one who encouraged me. He didn't encourage me. He told me to start a consulting company. He recommended me to others, and he actually included me in a few LTG jobs. Always generous with his time, advice, and he was a mentor to so many of us. But just like on January 4th, 2 months ago, when I said it's not my collegial relationship that I miss, I want to make sure you know just what it means to be a good friend, and that Sands Lassiter was a really good friend. You cannot think of Sands without thinking about Paul McKittrick. You've heard about bromances. I mean, bromance actually became defined in the dictionary in 2010. And just in case you don't know what a bromance is, it's a very close relationship between two or more men. Well, Paul and Tom, my husband Tom, had a long-standing bromance since the 1990s. And Paul and Sands developed a bromance that I'm thinking started around 2010. Sands and Tom did not know each other, but they both had Paul in common. Here's some tips for building a bromance. Meet the same people regularly. Connect with your friends through shared interests. Connect with their friends as well. And bond over work and play. So a lot of us, if not all of us, know the role motorcycles played in Sands' life. In fact, if you went motorcycle riding with Sands, stand up. Paul had been pushing Tom to get a motorcycle. But as you may know about the two of them, Paul needed help convincing Tom. Enter Sands. Somewhere around 2012, Sands reached out to Tom. He did not know Tom. He knew me, and he loved Paul. And it was important to Paul that Tom get a motorcycle. So Sands had 2 motorcycles. He made it impossible for Tom to not go riding. And soon, Tom bought his own motorcycle. And the 2 pairs became one tri-party bromance. In 2015, the 3 of them and Jim Morris took a fantastic road trip up the East Coast. Tom, Paul, and Sands were meant to be. They were all the same age, and believe it or not, they had birthdays within 2 weeks of each other. How lucky for them that Terry, Roberta, and I liked each other. As empty nesters, we all began to form a couples relationship. Breakfast rides, because I got to tell you, I can't get on one of those things for more than an hour. Dinners, activities, eventually trips to Georgia, and ultimately our Alaska cruise in August. Over our years together, oh my gosh, there was so much teasing. So much teasing, so many laughs, and so many good times. Author Dean Koontz said, "Never leave a friend behind." In 2017, Tom planned to ride to Tallahassee, because yeah, we're Knowles, to give some needed support to our son. Sands did not want Tom doing that ride by himself. And Sands isn't a knoll, you guys. So Sands invited himself to this one-day round trip, and thank goodness he did. Not long into the ride up, they stopped for gas. And Tom leaves his wallet on his gas tank on his motorcycle and rides off north on I-75. And that wallet went somewhere. Tom didn't even know. A pickup drives up beside him and is like making noise, like blah, blah, blah. Pulls over. Sands pulls over and they find out there's dollar bills flying along the roadway. So Sands and Tom turn around, see some guy picking up those dollar bills, and there is no wallet to be found. But they haven't even gotten to Tallahassee, and the goal is to provide support to our son. So that entire trip was through the generosity and compassion of our dear friend Sands. His love for adventure, knowing how important family is, and friendship. In 2020, Sands and Paul shared an epic trip to Spain that many of you may have heard about, a motorcycle trip. And to this day, Tom regrets not going. The 70th birthdays weren't exactly what the six of us had planned, but Tom and I are still grateful that Roberta and Sands, Jesse, Lauren, and Stephen, we're grateful that you included us in part of the family celebration. After Christmas, Tom and I went up to the house to visit Sands and Roberta. I was convinced that I could help Sands feel better and get him to eat, because one thing I'm good at is, well, at least Tom tells me I'm good at it, is making homemade soups. And I thought for sure, turkey soup, chicken soup, makes you feel better. The next day, Sands texted me to tell me that the soup was delicious. I was so happy. Sands never ate my soup, but he knew that it would make me feel better to think that I had made him feel better. And that's the kind of friend that Sands was. He always cared about you and how you were feeling and what he could do to help you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sharon. Sands was my uncle, and I've got a lot of great memories. I mean, he knew me my whole life, but in particular, when I moved to Jacksonville, Sands and Roberta were my closest family, and they really, I mean, I went through some really tough times, and they helped me so much. I have a lot of memories of going out to the Ormond Beach House on the Halifax River, going out on the boat with Lauren and Jesse and other family. And great memory, I'm not a hunter and I'm not into guns, but he taught me about them. So we went hunting for wild hogs, but no animals were harmed that day. And he taught me to shoot an antique rifle. I really enjoyed it, and I felt like he got me out of my comfort zone. I don't like motorcycles, but I think he talked me into getting on to his, and I just told him, you got to keep it at 45 miles an hour or less, and I will ride on that with you. And so he took me to Daytona Beach Bike Week. It's Bike Week, guys. And I got a t-shirt, which I don't know where that is, but maybe I should get another one while I'm here, or something like that. Yeah, just so many great memories. I mean, Sands and Roberta helped me move, and I know there was a story about the wallet lost on the highway. Well, I think there was a box in the back of a truck. One of my boxes lost as well, somewhere in Jacksonville. Yeah, so I mean, they really took me under their wing. And I feel so blessed to have such a family and to have known Sands. The same guy who would watch country westerns, watch Mamma Mia with me, and introduced me to the joys of musicals. So I've been listening to that Mamma Mia soundtrack and ugly crying. And yeah, so I just, you know, the way I kind of think about him is in heaven at harmony with the animals. And, you know, he did tell me before that he found God in the woods, you know, and I believe that's true. So, yeah, I wanted to share a few things. Sam's meant a lot to me. Thanks.
My name is Allie. I'm a close friend of Lauren's. I am a stray that Lauren picked up. If you know Lauren, or if you know the Lassiters at all, or their children, they pick up strays. And we are here to celebrate Sands, but a part of me wants to celebrate Roberta. Roberta, sorry. She just was so gracious with Sands. I'm sorry, but this man, he was a lot. I've known Lauren for 25 years. We were teenagers together. Lauren and I did lots of crazy things together, and Sands was behind half of it. He was the encourager, it's not a great idea, but let's do it anyways. He was the person that was like, Lauren is bringing over all of her friends, and Sands would just be like, it's okay, I'm gonna drop the boat into Halifax, and we're gonna do a barbecue, and we're gonna have this and this. And there's Roberta just like, what the? Like, okay, I guess we're going to do all this. And then she's got a house full of kids, and she's gracious, and she's kind, and she's thoughtful. And when we're out on the boat, she's making sure we're wearing life vests and that we're being safe. And Sands is not about that. He is the exact opposite of everything that Roberta is. Roberta's a teacher, and she's kind, and she's patient, and we're gonna do this and wash hands, and Sands is not. And I just feel like Sands made so many messes, and Roberta's just cleaning them all up. And so part of me is sad, because I'm gonna miss them. But part of me is really thankful. So I thank you for cleaning up his messes. I'm thankful that I was one of them, and I appreciate you.
All right. Well, I wasn't planning on coming up because Allie pretty much just explained my place as one of the messes that Lauren's always cleaning up. Yeah, so just how great of a family the Lassiters are, and loving and welcoming is. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Epstein. I am Lauren's ex-husband. And if you're curious about our relationship right now, many of you probably are. That's okay, so are we. Yeah, I met Sands back in 1998, 99, that summer when I met his daughter, and invited me into his home, and I'm realizing how little I really knew about him and how great he really was. That, what do you call your ex-in-laws? Outlaws, my outlaws. That he still had me over to his home and Roberta, you've been a rock of the family that I don't know where we'd be without you. And thank you. And Sans still had me into his home and invested time in us and talked with us and had the barbecues and the fires. And I almost forgot to this day, I actually went to Bobby Bowden's football camp just before high school. Like, I was a huge Seminole fan. I really hadn't thought about how I married Lauren and got into their house and was converted without ever even knowing that, made me a Gator without ever even being like, you're doing that, you know, just, yeah, I definitely did the tomahawk as a kid, and I almost forgot all about that. Sans was just such a wonderful guy, and he did love to be out in the woods, seemed to love that more than people. And as one of those people that he didn't like, I just wanted to come up here and honor how sweet and wonderful and good he was to me when he didn't have to be. Thank you, Sans.
This is not easy. But anyway, I work with Sans. I'm going to talk about the office somehow. 2017, I moved from Puerto Rico to Florida, and I got to be hired in Sans company, LTG, Lassiter Transportation Group. And to Lauren and to Roberta and to his family, I consider him a gentleman with the greatest heart of all times. He touched my family heart, and he cared for me as an employee. He gave a lot to us, to his employees. Every Monday, for the past, since I was there, and maybe before my time, he used to bring, I was telling Lauren, he used to bring quiche to the office. He used to stop in Panera and bring quiche. He bring like 4 or 5 of them. And you know what is the interesting thing? He never grabbed his quiche first. We were there first, and we knew he was sometime during the day used to grab his quiche. And if there's no quiche there for him, he didn't care. He just wanted us to eat them for breakfast, and then he was the last person who would grab his quiche. And other things that happened to me with him, they were cleaning the office, and somebody put this nice small briefcase to grab. And here I am. I go and ask, are you sure that's a good one? It's in good condition. So I grab it, and I took it with me. And then I went back. Are you sure this is not anybody's? Turns out to be Sans. So now what happened? Now, I'm in trouble now. I don't want to return it. So I go to his office, Sans, here is your briefcase. He goes, oh, no, 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 no. That is not my briefcase anymore. It's yours, your Sam's. I took it. It was there. It is yours. So can you believe that I used the briefcase for weeks and weeks and weeks, and one day I go to lunch and I come back, and the briefcase wasn't there, and my stuff inside the briefcase was on my desk. And he put a note. He said, hi, Alberto. I borrowed your briefcase. I borrowed your briefcase because I'm going to go to a motorcycle trip and I need the briefcase. When I come back, I return it. I will return it to you. Here I am thinking, okay, so when they come back, he's not going to give it to me. I'm going to just... He came back from his trip. He went to my office. Here is your briefcase. Thank you very much. Lauren, I still have the briefcase. It means a lot, but it belongs to your dad. I took it by mistake. I took it by because somebody put it there. But I couldn't win. I couldn't return it because he turned back and said, "It's yours now," and he left. So I couldn't. Okay, 6 months after I moved from Florida, my wife was looking for a job. And my wife asked me, "Do you think Sans know people that he can pass around my resume?" And I go, "Yeah, but he's very busy. He's a very busy guy. How can I do that?" She said, "Well, all he can say is no." So here I go in the morning, and I got my email ready with my wife's resume. I also copied Mark in the email. So I sent, and Mark was very busy behind his desk, working very, very busy. So you know what he did? He sent her resume to everybody he knew. He copied her. He went to my office, "Alberto, I did it. I already sent it to her, to everybody." So my wife wrote back to him, "Thank you very much." He returned his email back saying, "Anything I can do to help you, I will." He wanted her to have a job, for us to be. So there's many more things I would like to share with you, but those are the ones I would like to share today. And as for LTG, congratulations, because his legacy will continue. You guys are doing a great job, and LTG, history will prevail. LTG will always stand for Lassiter Transportation Group. Thank you.
I am Kim. My sisters, Debbie and Terry, are back there. Stephen, Neil, Sands, Tanis, and Bianca are our only first cousins. I didn't know I'd say anything, but sometimes in the past, like at church, if God wanted me to say something, my heart starts beating real hard. So that happened. Stephen, Neil, Sands, Tanis, and Bianca, or it was Uncle Bob, Marcel, Stephen, Neil, Sands, Tanis, and Bianca. I don't know when I started. To this day, it's still there. I say those names every day. Because when I was very young, when I said my prayers, I always prayed for Uncle Bob, Marcel, Stephen, Neil, Sands, Tanis, and Bianca. Bianca's last. You notice they're in order of age, except for Bianca's at the end. That's because Bianca and my youngest sister, Terry, weren't born yet when I started praying for them. We can say definitely, and we're the Lassiter part of the family. My mom, their dad's, Bob's sister. Our most adventurous times, or I don't think Terry and Bianca got into this much, but our most adventurous times were when we were with Stephen, Nils, and Sands. And so and listening to the people talk and all the parts of his life that I haven't really known about. And with Stephen and Nils too, it's there. Do it, you know. Family. The family has, even though they've all, except Stephen was taking care of his dad for quite a while in Murray, and I saw him quite often. But even though we've been separated by distance a lot, still, we got together sometimes. Yes, family. Grandmama and Granddaddy Lassiter's. I know my Kevin, my youngest sister's husband, remember him saying at one time, when you walk into this house, talking about Grandmama and Granddaddy's house, you feel the love. So many things were going through my mind as I sat out there. I can't remember them all. You know, there were these big grain bins out behind Granddaddy's store, way back there. I mean, you know, full of corn, or not the cobs of corn, soybeans or whatever. What did we do as kids? On the top, sometimes even the electric lift that, you know, sometimes that went on. Go down into the top of the bin. I didn't realize at the time that there have been people that have died that way, you know. Niels, I think it was you who was driving when we got in Granddaddy's truck. Yeah, it was. Out toward, Uncle John's and Aunt Lottie's, I think. Boy, well, I didn't know that the truck was going to make it as fast as we were going. But it all just comes back to that family relationship. And how blessed we are to have family. Remember the time together. And as our family grew, and our cousins, our second cousins, the wives of our cousins, how the family grew, and we were all close. Even though, as you can tell, you know, we're the ones from Kentucky. It's a little bit about Granddaddy Lassiter had a store, Lassiter's Grocery, Lassiter Store. No, that's how I'd say, Lassiter Store. Feed mill, he crushed corns and corn, whatever. Train came right by. Here's the store, here's the train tracks, and the house was over here. The house was in Kentucky, across the road, and the store was in Tennessee. The potbelly stove in the store, coal potbelly stove, that's where the heat came from in the store. Just very simple lives. Very simple life, Grandma, Mom, and Granddaddy. Uncle Bob, too. I mean, it starts there, but it starts on way back as Sands had talked about his ancestor from quite a while back. Even Granddaddy's brothers were pretty entrepreneurial, however you say that word. No. Yes. But Grandma and Granddaddy were just as simple as could be. But there's those roots. As Kevin said one time, when you walk into this house, you can just feel the love. I don't know what to say. Roberta, all of you, the children of my cousins, the children's children of my cousins, me and Debbie and Terry, we love you very much. The wives of our cousins. And I still do to this day, and I will continue. Because now it's Stephen, Neil, Stan, Stannis, and Bianca, and all of their families. Even more. Thank you.
How you guys doing tonight? My name is Matthew Doust. I just wanted to say I had an honor of actually growing up my childhood life next to Jesse and the family, Roberta and Sands. We the neighbors before, they're from South Africa, I think. No kids, no family, not outdoorsmen. And then really young on, the Lassiters moved next door, and gosh, that was a great chapter of our lives. I can remember playing Xbox or Nintendo 64, Jesse smoking me in Banjo-Kazooie. I didn't even know how to play that game, but he was so good at it. To walking in that kitchen, and if anyone likes to cook or make anything, we all knew Sands liked to cook. I could smell those biscuits that he always whipped up. He always had bacon grease sitting on the side, and you always wondered, what is that? Well, that was going in his biscuits. We grew up very lucky. Both our families were very successful, and they got to show that. They took us out on the boats all the time. We learned how to wakeboard. We learned how to fish, and that's still with us today. There's many moments. Our fathers, your father, pushed us to go on these father-son camping trips, and they're very memorable. Like I said, Sands would always cook up the spread for everybody. I mean, it was eggs, bacon, potatoes, and chopped up all the onions, put them in all the potatoes, and I think he always did that. And no one else took that lead. He always cooked breakfast for everybody. And it was just an honor. It was an honor growing up with you guys. It was an honor to have a mentor, not just next door, but it grew. And we grew up not knowing what engineering was. Jesse and I, we were just running around like crazy. But as we got later in life, I was blessed to become an engineer and then also work on projects with Sands. And he was a mentor. And a funny story that maybe LTG knows or not, but when I moved down here with my wife, Katie Deering, Katie Doust, by the way, if everyone knows her in a professional career, but it is Katie Deering. But she was looking for a job, and little did we know, I'm thinking about all the firms out there, and it never came to mind of, the neighbor that I grew up next to, of, sending my wife's resume to him. And little did he know, his partner at that time hired Katie. And Sands was a mentor to her. She learned so much from Sands, and he was just an amazing individual. He touched us all, and I wasn't prepared for this, but I just want to tell Lassiters I love you guys so much, and I hope to see a lot more of you guys soon.
Good afternoon. My name is Shailesh Patel. I don't have any funny stories with Sands other than I just kind of got to know him a whole lot better over the last few years as part of a CEO exchange group that he was a part of. Learned so much. One thing I realized was, besides a CEO, he was really funny. He was a clown. Every time he came to the meetings, he had always funny stories. But one thing for sure, love of family, no doubt. He always spoke highly about his family. And I've met Roberta, and I know that he loved her so much, his grandkids, his kids. I was here about a month ago. Just read the announcement. I was February 1. I showed up here. I called Lauren. I said, did I miss something? Because I'm looking at this parking lot and it's empty. And I know people love this guy. Something must be wrong. Finally realized, it's not February 1st, it's March 1st, right? So anyway, here I am today. Right day, right time. But I do want to say this about Sands. I came to this country when I was 17, and I remember this saying, I hope I get it right. You give but little when you give of your possessions. You truly give when you give of yourself. And if anything that I've learned over the last few years with Sands, he really gave of himself, On behalf of my friends at VCOD, Volusia County Association for Responsible Development, where he served as chair, our CEO exchange, I just want to say this to the folks here that, one thing as a CEO that I learned being with Sands, and he taught me a lot. He went through his transition. We discussed a lot of things, and he just gave knowledge. He just shared information. That's what I admired most about him. Of the many engineering companies that are here, he was the few, in fact, he's the only one, that if a staff member or an ex-intern applied to his company and he saw my name, he called me and said, Shailesh, I've got this person, just want to make sure I'm not taking them away from your company, right? They've approached me, they want to come here, is that okay? That's the kind of respect, it's good to know in this world that there are good people like that, right? That share, that are not afraid to let you know what's going on. And so that's the kind of respect for a guy who came from Africa and different culture, religion, if you will. In our Hinduism, we don't have celebration of life, right? When someone passes away, there's a lot of crying, right? And it's kind of refreshing to see this. For me, it's a new experience. But there's a term we have, an individual known as Vaishnav. Vaishnav is a human being who understands the pain of others, who gives freely, who is selfless. And as I thought about this, I think Sands, to me, is a Vaishnav, a person who just embodied all that is good in life. So to his family, I know he will be missed. He will be missed by us as friends. But I want to say that he'll never be forgotten, because there's a very few handful of individuals that command that kind of respect, and Sands was definitely one of them. So thank you for this opportunity on behalf of all the members of SBDC, our CEO Exchange, and hopefully VCARD. I say thank you to you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, Sands, wherever I'm sure you're in the heavens, probably driving your motorcycle, finding your own path. But it is an honor to have known such a great man in my life. So thank you very much.
My name is Mark Doust, and I didn't really plan on speaking today. Made up my mind a few minutes ago, and then, surprise, my son actually got up here before me and started to speak. I'm going to continue some of those stories. I actually met Sands about 35 years ago, and it was kind of a choice meeting, a chance meeting. Jim Morris had introduced me to a guy by the name of Jerry Smalley, He was looking to build a shopping center, Ormond Town Square in Ormond Beach. And I started working on this shopping center. I'm a civil engineer, so we're kind of a strange group, us engineers. But anyway, it was a very complicated project, and we needed a traffic engineer. And Jerry Smalley said, I know a traffic engineer, he's good. And I'm like, he's got to be really good. We're serious about this project. We want to make sure we have the best team. He goes, Mark, he's good, he's good. So I met Sands, this was 35 years ago, and the project was successful. Jerry was almost correct. He said he was good, but he didn't say he was great. He was a great traffic engineer. And from then on, that's the traffic engineer I used. So for 35 years, he was the guy. Little did I know that we would become long friends. He eventually ended up buying the house, as Matthew mentioned, next to ours on the river. And so we got to know the rest of their family. And he was all about family. We used to go on the camping trips. There were father-son camping trips, and we basically went out in the middle of the Ocala forest and just carved out our own campsite with a bunch of guys and their sons. And we did several of those things, and I got to know Jesse very well on these trips. My boys may not know this, and maybe Jesse doesn't know it, but when we would go on these trips, we would be plotting almost against our kids a little bit, because we would know everything about our sons. We would talk about our sons because they were some of the most important things in our lives. If something was happening in one of our sons' lives and they weren't receptive to their father saying something, we would share those stories. And when we had the opportunity, we thought we were very clever, we would weigh in on these things. And we did that over and over. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it was a regular thing. And so every time we went on these camping trips, we would talk about what our sons were going through and how could we help, you know. We also used to go on these guy trips. Those trips where a bunch of guys get together and they go fishing. I could think of one trip in particular. It was to Englewood, which is kind of in the Gulf. And one thing you have to know about guys when they get together on these trips, the maturity level is inversely proportional to the number of the guys. So the more guys you put together, the less mature we get. So on this particular day, we had taken off, and we were going to go to Boca Grande, and we were going to catch tarpon. And we may have hooked them, but we never got them in the boat. But it was a long day, and on the way back, someone had the great idea that we're going to stop and get a bottle of Crown Royal. It wasn't Sands, it wasn't me. I think it was Jerry Smalley. But neither Sands or I objected to the idea. It actually sounded pretty good. And so we picked up this bottle of Crown Royal, and as we were driving back to Englewood, we were drinking this bottle of Crown Royal. So by the time we got back to Englewood, we were feeling no pain. And as the night started to fall, we were supposed to go on a night fishing trip with a guy by the name of Julio. He had this boat with a tower, and we were going to go out fishing, and no one could find Sands. And because we were very close together, they came to me and said, "Where's Sands?" Okay, so I went out searching for Sands, and he was sitting on the beach, just kind of having his own time. And so I said, "Hey, Sands, we're ready to go. We're going to go out fishing. We're going to get on this boat and go." And we went out and fished. Didn't really catch anything, but we just had a great time. And then after that, they were looking for me. So who did they go to? They went to Sands. They said, "Sands, where's Mark?" And so I don't know how it happened, but we became each other's keepers in these situations. I can tell you that, I've enjoyed a long friendship, professional relationship. When he started his company, I remember, because we were both company builders at that time, he needed a place, and I was building a new building, and turned out we did a build-to-suit in the space, and so for a while, I would go home, and he was my neighbor at home. I'd go to work, and he was my neighbor at work, and it was great. We believed very heavily in family. He loved his family. We love him too, and I'm just cherished to have known him And we are here for whatever you need, whenever you need it. Thank you, Sands.
Oh, this is scary. I'm Judy Kaza, and I worked for Sands side by side for 22 years. So I'll try not to take too long because there's a lot of stories to tell. And as y'all were sharing your, lives about him, I feel like I was a fly on the wall because a lot of the stories I heard about already. So he loved to share his stories, and he loved his family. And how it started with Sands and I is I was a QuickBooks advisor back in 90s, and then in 2001, my husband and I and our family moved to Florida, Ormond Beach. And Sands called me up one day and needed help because he was starting his future firm. It was going to grow up to, what it is today. So I went to their house, met Roberta. Roberta and Lauren were the first employees of Lassiter Transportation Group, and I was the next employee. And through the years, I wasn't planning on speaking. I didn't think I could, but when you work side by side with somebody for 22 years, you get to know them pretty well. So I feel like I know Sands in a way that most of you don't. But I can tell you that you are all familiar to me, family, friends, and business associates, because Sands was a wonderful man and a businessman. So eventually we had the firm up to 30, and then, it was 13, and in 2008 a recession hit, and eventually we were down to 6 employees. And then got it back up to 30. So there's a lot of history there and a lot of stories, a lot of ups and downs. But I had never met a man like Sands before in my life. He became like a brother to my husband and I. He gave me opportunities in the business world that I wouldn't have had but he has this trust for people that he offered my family and I an opportunity to work side by side with him for 22 years. And in 2017, he gave me a title called Chief Financial Officer. Who does that? I mean, he was just so generous when he offered me that title. I'm going, you sure? You want to do that? But anyhow, he did. And it was a wonderful journey with Sands. And really, I looked forward to retirement with him. I retired 2 years ago, and he kept talking about it. And, I guess there was a few instances of just funny things I want to share and how direct Sands could be is when I first started working for him. I'm from Pittsburgh, so we're Steeler fans. Really was never into college ball much, but when I got here and started working for Sands, I would always get the Seminoles and the Gators mixed up. And it was pretty quick how he straightened me up there, but he did tell me he was from a house divided, so I could mess up occasionally. Or the hurricanes in 2004 was another experience of packing up an office. So first hurricane, we packed all the files away and put them in nice white boxes, and I think you took them to Jacksonville or something like that. And then the next hurricane happened, and I think we were at Mark's next door neighbors then in 2004, and we said, okay, let's just not worry about packing them in boxes. We're just going to take all the bottom files out and put them on top of the file cabinet. But he was always so practical, and he was always so open to my ideas, which Sands and I worked together a lot better than my husband and I would have worked together, so he's agreeing. But it was just fun stuff like that. But the really, I think the gem of it is, and it's still celebrated at our company, Gil shared it earlier, is when the first 100th job happened, Sands and I were trying to decide how are we going to celebrate. And, I don't know how the word Dom Perignon came out, but I said, what do you think of that? That's just crazy to do something like that. And he said, no, I like that idea. So I think, I don't know, you've got 4,000 or 5,000 jobs here now. We've drank a lot of Dom at LTG. And I mean, that's just a little anecdote of one of this, how generous he was and how fun he was, because those Dom parties are fun. So as sad as we all are, and I've been reminiscing over like all the different things that happened over 22 years, I know that he affected each of your lives, you that are here today, like he affected me. And that just astounds me when I put it in perspective of how many lives he touched that were just not me. I was the back office person. I didn't like being out front or anything, but how generous he is and was, and his beautiful family. And that's what attracted me to Sands the most in the beginning, because I had a 3-year-old daughter and 2 teenage boys, and everything was however I wanted to make it work. And who does that? I mean, he was just such a unique, generous person who loved his wife. I would say he was my work husband, but I hate that term, by the way. But because he loved Roberta so much and had such a great marriage, and my husband Chuck and I had such a great marriage that it just always worked. It was, you know, he was such a blessing and still is, because his memory is ongoing and his friendship. He's like a brother to us. And what I realized is Sands is not gone. He just changed locations. And we'll all see him again someday. So thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bahan. I used to work for Sands. I didn't know who was Sands. I was just complaining to Melissa, and she was like, oh, I know a great guy you can work for and you will be super happy, and his name is Sands, and I seen his work, he's just the company you're looking for. And that's how it started. I went to interview Sands. I sat down with him. He was like, oh my God, you working for Target? I worked with him, and I don't want to steal you from him because I know this limited pupil working for him. And when I saw him, he was telling me this is just like, who does that? Not taking employee just because it's somebody friend employee for a long time ago. Then he looked at me, he's like, if you need to work right now, I can still take you, but just make sure it's fine with Target. I just don't want to take it from him. I said, no, I'm fine. I just need 3 weeks before I leave him because I want to make sure I hand all of my work before I work for you. So I started working for him. After 6 months, my work permit expired and it didn't came. So I had to stop working. After just 6 months, and I still remember it was during Christmas time, I opened my mailbox, there's a card with his handwritten, giving me a sweet message that I never heard before, with a check of $3,000. I still cannot believe it till today date. He just sent me a check, he barely knew me. And he said, I'm not gonna let you be without insurance. He just continued insurance for my son and I while I was out of work. We didn't know how long it will take for my work permit to come, but he just treated me like a daughter. I never felt like it. I just felt like I was part of the family. As soon as I returned back to the office, he was giving me advice how to raise my son. He was sharing story. How did he do with his son? I never met his son until now, but I already knew him because he was showing me pictures. He shared a lot of stories about his granddaughter, how similar it is with my son. And then just last January on my birthday, when everybody signed in the card, I saw his writing the happy birthday in my language. And my language, you cannot do Google Translate because I'm Kurdish. There's no Google Translate in Kurdish. I don't know how he find it. He made it so special. It's just something about him. He just made you so special. I don't know how to describe it. When I handed in my resignation, he took me for lunch. He sat down with me for 1 hour, giving me all advices that would a father give it to his daughter, not a boss given to an employee who's leaving his company. He was telling me what to do and how to continue in my life to be successful. I am very grateful. Till this moment, I still cannot believe he's gone. I just can't. I keep his name alive wherever I go, and wherever I go, there's many people that knows him. Oh, you worked for Sands? I worked with him. It just is aching my heart. I can only imagine what does it feel like for a close family, but throughout my interaction with him, he gave me a lot of definition of what is God is. Was so respectful, he didn't know what I was believing in, and what the family is, and how to care for people. It's so hard not to love Sands and not to remember it, and I just wanted to share what did he do for me. I can imagine what did he do for others, and I'm very grateful, and thank you.
Hi, I don't ever use a microphone, so this is weird. I'm Sands' granddaughter, one of them. And I'm just gonna tell a funny story because I can't really talk about anything else. But does anyone know where Enterprise, Alabama is? Okay, it's because it shouldn't exist. I'm so sorry if anyone's from there or anything, but it's the worst town I've ever been to. Last summer, I was looking for internships. I'm an accounting major at the University of Florida. Yeah, I don't know where I got that idea from, but so it's a big thing for you to get an internship so you can get experience and everything. And I thought that I was brilliant because I just saw a Google posting and applied for a random job at a random business, not really understanding where it was or anything like that. And of course I did it without asking anyone's advice or anything because I knew what I was doing, of course. So I applied, and the first warning should have been that I had to do the interview at like 4 a.m. in Hawaii when Mom and I went to Hawaii. So I woke up at like 3:30 to prepare for it and was up before the sun rose and doing the interview, and it was the weirdest, and it was such a weird group interview. But then they offered me the job, and I was feeling very proud because it's your first time not employed by your grandfather that you got a job offer. And so I was super excited about it. I moved there, and again, it should not exist. It's generously as big as this church. There's nothing to do. It was my first real time being alone, because in college I knew a bunch of people, all my friends went there. A lot of people I knew went there, and you're not really alone, especially if you come in with those connections. And it was my first time being completely alone. I rented a random Airbnb that they did not disclose that there were other people living there, and it was just older men. So it's me and these older men, and that was super fun. I found out later they were in the military, so it was okay. Yeah, so I, one night, was calling my grandpa and just talking to him, and I was like, yeah, like, not really loving it here. There's nothing really to do. Missing family. And he and Uncle Stephen took a 7-hour motorcycle trip the next, I think 2 weeks after that, to come visit me. And I mean, we did everything. And by everything, I mean everything that he loved to do. We just drove around all day. We drove around to antique stores. And I gotta say, it was really fun. He did buy me anything that I put in the cart, which was not much at an antique store. But we went to all of these places and saw all of these new things and explored everywhere. And I remember going to their hotel that night. Well, can you call it a hotel? I don't know. It was more of a motel. And they were thinking of things to do the next day, and I felt like it was time for me to choose something. So I was like, there's one thing to do here, and it's an escape room. And Grandpa immediately dismissed it and was like, there are these antique stores in this town. And I was like, yes, but there is a escape room. And he kept saying, yeah, but there's like, we could take a motorcycle trip, we could do all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, but there's an escape room. And I don't know where I got my stubbornness from, but I persisted and I won, because I normally do. And we went to an escape room. So it was me, my Uncle Stephen, and Grandpa Sands in an escape room where they had to solve puzzles and crawl through these little tiny holes. And he had just gotten surgery, I think on his knee or something like that. But so he couldn't really bend down. But we get in there and it's like this murder mystery. And of course, I mean, I don't think they've ever done anything like that. And we escaped with 5 minutes left. We had to go through many rooms to crawl through. He kept groaning about how he had to get over this ledge. But I have a really cool picture that I guess I forgot to send to the slideshow. So I was procrastinating with that. But yeah, no, it was a super fun time. And then I found out after that they were stuck on the way home in like 8 hours of traffic on a motorcycle, and it was raining, and I did the drive myself, and it was awful because I also hate driving. So the fact that they would do all of that for me was just on a whim after I called him and said I was feeling a little lonely, is just a testament to how much he cared about his family.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Glenn Haywood, and I was Sands' best friend in high school and college and forever. And I truly miss him already. I just wanted to share one or maybe two short little stories from high school that Lauren and Jesse might not have ever heard. About Sands, his heart, his incredible intelligence, his engineering. We started the chess club at our high school, 1971. You're looking at the president of the James S. Rickards High School Chess Club. And Sands was the vice president until 3 or 4 months into it, someone said, we got to re-vote. So Sands became the president, and I became the vice president. So Sands showed up right at the beginning of our senior year in high school. I told him, and we just instantly became best friends. I said, but we have a job to do. And I said, there's 2 girls, they're twins, Leslie and Lynn Piccolo, and they were born with rickets, so they have to be in wheelchairs, and their legs are you have to be really careful with them. And I said, because I've been at the high school all since 7th grade, and I've known them. And I said, so what we're going to do, when they need to go to a class upstairs, we carry them up with their wheelchairs. You and I will take them up each of the chairs. Sands looks at me and he says, no, that's not what we're going to do. And he said, I got a better idea. He said, you take Leslie, I'll take Lynn, you get a friend to help you, I'll get a friend to help me, and it'll be much more efficient. And I went, yeah, that is better. So he was already engineering as a senior in high school. He was already thinking. So that's what we did. We took them wherever they needed to go. We took care of these two sweet, sweet girls. At the end of the year, when we all were going to graduate, Leslie or Lynn, whichever one he was with at the time, said, "Will you give me a kiss goodbye?" And I said, Sands is telling me this later, and I said, well, what did you do? He said, I knelt down, put my arms around her, and I gave her the best kiss I could give. And he had a heart of gold. He would do anything for anybody. And then he asked, what did Lynn ask of you? And I said, nothing. Sands was a lot better looking than I was. And I just want to tell one other quick story. His outdoorsman was from the beginning. We've been canoeing down the Blackwater River. We've been in the Gulf. I was going to say Gulf of Mexico, but it always is the Gulf of Mexico to me. We would go fishing. We got trapped once out in the ocean. Long story short, Sands figured out how to get us back. He was just very smart. But we always wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail, and we only had 2 days to do it, so we could say that we did it. And that morning, after hiking all day and staying in a little cabin somewhere near Fontana Dam up in North Carolina on the Appalachian Trail, he pulls out a little jar of flour and a little thing of buttermilk, and he makes biscuits for us for breakfast. So I think I may be the first person that he made biscuits for. I'm not sure, but I'm holding on to that memory. And while we were camping and hiking on the Appalachian Trail, we had just met our future wives maybe a couple months ago before this. Berta and Debbie were roommates at FSU. And all Sands could talk about was Roberta. And all I could talk about was Debbie. And they had a cute little phrase that they said every once in a while when we'd say, da-da-da-da-da, they would go, nopey. If they didn't want to do it, they didn't say no, they'd go, nopey. And Sands said, I just wish I could hear her say nopey while we're hiking on the trail. And I knew then they were getting married. It was going to happen. Anyway, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, sir.
This is scary. Okay, I'm Chelsea. I am one of Sands' nieces. My mom, Bianca, is his little baby sister. And every time I think about Sands, there's one thing that comes to mind, and I always think he wouldn't want you to tell that story because he wouldn't want you to, like, he did it not for people to know about it. He did it just because that's who he was. But I think one of the biggest things I've heard today is it's a theme for Sands, and it's meaningful for my story and my life too with him, is thinking about who you are when no one's watching, and that he's always the same giving, caring, loving person. And I'll tell one quick story in case you didn't already think he was a wonderful guy. He came to visit us. We lived in Kentucky, and he always brought the family, like every year, right? You guys came at least once a year. He was very big on making sure the family all got together. But one year they came at Christmas, and my parents had gotten divorced, and it was a hard financial time. And he said, what could I do to help? And I said, you could help my mom so that she can make sure we all have Christmas. And he did. And I don't think he ever told anybody about it. I'm sure Roberta knew because he came back with less money. But
he didn't go around telling everybody what he was doing. He just did what felt like the right thing in his heart, and he looked out for other people, and he made us all feel like his daughters in a very special ways, that he just showed up for you in a way that a dad, that an uncle, that a friend, that a wonderful man would. And we love him a lot, and we'll miss him, and I hope we all carry that spirit forward with us, just doing the right thing, no matter who's watching, do what feels right in your heart for whoever needs it. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Nyman. I think I first met Sands probably in 1985, and we kind of bounced around the engineering industry together, bumping into each other quite often for the next 40, 50 years. And in 2012, I had been working for 6 years in Tampa, traveling back and forth, staying in Tampa 3 nights a week. My wife was getting over it. I was getting tired of it. And I'm not a traffic engineer. I'm not a signal designer. But I saw an ad for Lassiter, for a signal designer. So I put in for it. And he called me in. And instead of hiring me for that, he created a roadway design transportation group, and put me in charge of it. And for the next 9 years, we worked closely together. Many of you work with me. Many of you know me from many years in the business. And in last year, 2024, I announced that I was going to retire. And over the 9 years, we'd have many successes, and we had some big failures. And he came into my office one day, before I left. And he told me, you know, we did a lot of great things together, and I'm proud of what you did. And for all the ups and downs, that really made it feel safe for me to retire. And I just loved him. And I'm not sure how he ever got to be a traffic engineer, because his diploma says electrical. He'd always get so mad at me when I'd bring it up. But, you know, there it is on the wall, Sands. I mean, how the heck did you get doing this? But he was a great traffic engineer. He was a great man. And I truly loved working for him. And he made the last 9 years of my career the best years of my career. And I want to thank him and Roberta for always supporting us. And I just really loved him. Thank you.
I have a feeling that we could do this all day. And I'm just going to close this out, but that doesn't mean we can't continue to share. We can mingle, we can talk, you can tell us more stories. We're not going anywhere. But thank you so much. Your stories have touched my heart. I love hearing them, and I love learning things I had no idea about my dad, because, Chelsea, you're right, he didn't tell us the good things he did for other people. He didn't brag about them. I didn't even know most of them. So, you know, this is wonderful to learn and to know. Before we close, just want to let you guys know that there will be dust-ins out the door, so you guys can pick up some food, and then feel free to stay at the tables, mingle, visit. For those of you that have kids back in the childcare room, if you could just pick them up so that we can let the childcare workers go. You know, it's not date night, no. We're going to play the looping slideshow that was playing when you first came in. That's going to be playing again. It's probably about 10, 15 minutes long. And we're going to play a few of Dad's favorite songs. So you're free to stay here and watch it. You can go get food, do whatever you need to do. And it will be playing, so the pictures will come up more than once. You won't miss them. But thank you guys so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, almost forgot. I need a big gator chomp picture. So you have to do this for me. Ready? Oh, I have to do that. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go Gators. You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. Waiting at the station with a workday window blowing, I've got nothing to do but watch the passers-by. Mirrored in their faces, I see frustration growing, and they don't see it showing. Why do I? You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. I have often asked myself the reason for the sadness in a world where tears are just a lullaby. If there's any answer, maybe love can end the madness, maybe not. Oh, but we can only try. You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful as you feel.
When I was just a lad of 10, my father said to me, "Come here and take a lesson from the lovely lemon tree." "Don't put your faith in love, my boy," my father said to me. "I fear you'll find that love is like the lovely lemon tree." Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. One day beneath the lemon tree, my love and I did lie. A girl so sweet that when she smiled, the stars rose in the sky. We passed that summer lost in love beneath the lemon tree. The music of her laughter hid my father's words from me. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. One day she left without a word. She took away the sun, and in the dark she'd left behind, I knew what she had done. She'd left me for another. It's a common tale but true. A sadder man but wiser now, I sing these words to you. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree, lemon tree, lemon tree, lemon tree. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Yes, baby. Ooh, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Ooh, baby, I needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. I needed someone to understand my ups and downs, and there you were. With sweet love and devotion, deeply touching my emotions. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. Hey now, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Oh, baby, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Yes, it is. Close my eyes at night and wonder what would I be without you in my life. Everything was just a bore. All the things I did seems I've done them before. But you brighten up all my days with a love so sweet in so many ways. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. Hey, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Oh, yes, it is, baby. How sweet it is to be loved by you. on a piece of grass, walking down the road. Tell me, how long you gonna stay here, Joe? Some people say this town don't look good in snow. You don't care, I know. Ventura Highway in the sunshine, where the days are longer, the nights are stronger than moonshine. You're gonna go, I know. Cause the free wind is blowing through your hair, and the days surround your daylight there. Seasons crying, no despair, alligator lizards in the air, in the air. Wishing on a falling star, waiting for the early train. Sorry boy, but I've been hit by purple rain. Oh, come on, Joe, you can always change your name. Thanks a lot, son, just the same. Ventura Highway in the sunshine, where the days are longer, the nights are stronger than moonshine. You're gonna go, I know. Cause the free wind is blowing through your hair, and the days surround your daylight there. Seasons crying, no despair, alligator lizards in the air, in the air. La-da.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. I hear her voice
You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. Waiting at the station with a workday window blowing, I've got nothing to do but watch the passers-by. Mirrored in their faces, I see frustration growing, and they don't see it showing. Why do I? You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. I have often asked myself the reason for the sadness in a world where tears are just a lullaby. If there's any answer, maybe love can end the madness. Maybe not all, but we can only try. You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful as you feel.
When I was just a lad of 10, my father said to me, "Come here and take a lesson from the lovely lemon tree."
Don't put your faith in love, my boy, my father said to me. I fear you'll find that love is like the lovely lemon tree.
Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. One day beneath the lemon tree, my love and I did lie. A girl so sweet that when she smiled, the stars rose in the sky. We passed that summer lost in love beneath the lemon tree.
The music of her laughter hid my father's words from me.
Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. One day she left without a word. She took away the sun And in the dark she'd left behind, I knew what she had done. She'd left me for another. It's a common tale but true.
A sadder man but wiser now, I sing these words to you. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree
Thank